Hey, this is Dr. Berry. Let's talk about how to eat a low carbohydrate diet on a budget. There are so many people who've discovered the power of a low carbohydrate diet, whether that's the ketogenic way of eating, whether that's low carb, high healthy fat, or whether that's a Banting diet. So many people have discovered this and are trying to learn how to do this. If you know someone like this or you are someone like this, please share this on your Facebook page. You can send it in an email or a text message. There's a link down below that you can send anywhere to anyone in the world to help them understand how they can, on a budget, eat a low carb, high healthy fat diet. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, there are three things that you can do to save a ton of money eating keto or low carb, high healthy fat that Nisha and I don't do. We love to create and cook together in the kitchen, but there are a few things that we don't love to do that if you don't mind it or if you actually enjoy it, you can save a ton of money doing it. Number one is prepping multiple meals at the same time. That'll save you a ton of time. And then you can do the second thing, which is buy in bulk. Often the grocery will have a special. You can buy 10 pounds of some meat for $10 or some special like that. And so buying these things in bulk and then prepping multiple meals, you can save a lot of money that way. Also by canning or by investing in a deep freeze and freezing bulk items or the meals that you've already prepped, you can make your per meal cost very, very low, and yet your meal be full of high fat nutrition. And so we don't do that. But if you enjoy that sort of thing, you need to read about that and invest in perhaps a Instapot or a canner or a deep freeze because you can save a ton of money doing that. But what we'd rather do is just keep our refrigerator and our pantry and our cabinet stocked with the following things so that we can either eat them on the fly or we can quickly prepare a meal that we can then enjoy together. So let's talk about this list of ingredients. Number one is eggs. You can buy 2.5 dozen eggs at a time, or you can find a local lady who has a few chickens in her backyard who will be happy to sell you her pastured eggs at a bargain. Eggs are full of all the fat and all the protein that you'll need. And not only can you eat the egg contents, but more and more people are using the egg shells and the eggshell membrane in their bone broth. And I don't know if you've made bone broth yet, but it's very easy. And you can actually extend and save even more money by making bone broth and having some always simmering on the stove. And you can take the eggshells, membranes, and a few of the eggshells and throw in there, get tons of vitamins and minerals, and then all of the collagen and the chondroitin sulfate that's in the eggshell membrane for your joints and for your other body tissues. Next is frozen vegetables. Now, I'm very partial to fresh vegetables if I'm going to eat vegetables, but if you're on a budget, frozen vegetables are the next best thing. And if you have a family that's just learning to like vegetables and you don't want to spend a fortune on fresh vegetables for them to only go bad in the fridge and you have to put them in the compost pile, then buy frozen vegetables at least to start with. They're much cheaper. Much of the nutrition, not all, but most of it is retained in the frozen vegetables if they're frozen properly. And then you can unthaw and use just what you need and not have to worry about the rest of the veg going bad. Always make a lap through the produce section of your grocery. You can often find entire heads of cabbage, very cheap, and you can use the entire head, even the stalk or the core. A lot of people think you can't eat that, but you can slice that up very thinly, and that's full of nutrition as well. Another thing is bacon, and you think, wait a minute, bacon's very expensive. What are you talking about, Dr. Berry? But here's the thing about bacon. You fry, bake, grill, however you make your bacon, but then what do you have left? Yes, liquid gold, bacon grease. And then you can use this bacon grease to cook so many other things, including that cabbage we were just talking about, right? So you really get two things when you buy bacon. You get the tasty bacon and you get the bacon grease that you can use for multiple other meals. Now, if you're afraid of processed meat, I actually have a video on this channel. I'll link in the end notes about how you should not be afraid of processed meats at all. The nitrates and nitrites in processed meat are not bad for you. They do not cause cancer. You can check out that video after you finish this one to the end. The next thing is greens. When you make that lap through the produce section, always be on the lookout for greens on sale. You can often find turnip greens or kale or spinach in bulk that you can use for multiple meals in the week, and they're not very expensive. Now, some things in the produce section are quite expensive, and you may not be able to afford those right now. This video is really intended for people who are currently focusing on paying the rent and not losing their vehicle. That's who this video is for. And so if you're that person, I think it's fine to buy greens on sale, to eat lots of cabbage, and to buy frozen vegetables until you can do better. Another great low carbohydrate food that's full of nutrition is ground beef. And did you know that the fattier the ground beef you buy, the cheaper it is? And the fat in ground beef is full of omega-3s and other things. Now, if you can afford it, I obviously want you to buy your beef grass-fed and grass-finished. But if you cannot afford that, the ground beef, the fatty ground beef that you'll find on sale at your grocer is 1,000 times better for you than frozen dinners or the other crap that you used to eat back when you were eating the standard Western diet. So not only do you get to eat the beef during the meal, but you can save the tallow, which is the beef fat, and you can use that to season and cook with in other meals in the future. So you get to repurpose that again, just like the bacon grease. Now, another great keto food or low carb or pretty low carb food is pecans. Some nuts that I absolutely love, like pistachios and cashews, are a little too carby for most people, but pecans are full of nutrition. There is no GMO pecan, and they're low in carbohydrates. And usually they're the cheapest nut of all. You can buy those at the grocer in a big bag, crack those yourself, and that makes a great low carbohydrate treat that's full of vitamins and minerals. Another thing you can buy at the grocery that's not going to break your wallet is canned fish. Whether this is tuna, whether this is salmon, whether this is sardines and anchovies, you can usually get this fish very cheap. It has good fat, it has good protein, and it has zero carbohydrates. And although, again, this is not a perfect food, I actually obviously want you to buy wild caught salmon when you can afford that. But if you're worried about them coming to take your cell phone away because you can't pay the bill, then eat canned fish. It's much better than the alternative that you used to eat, right? Actually, anchovies and sardines are almost always wild caught. They're full of omega-3s and other vitamins and minerals. And if you eat the entire fish, you're actually getting lots of collagen in the cartilage and in the bones that you're crunching up in this tasty little treat. I have to put a lot of mustard on mine, but that's also low carb and relatively cheap. So a great lunch for me, if I'm in a hurry, is 2 cans of sardines with mustard. And I have to eat that away from Nisha because she hates the smell, but that's full of omega-3s, lots of fat, lots of protein, and zero carbohydrates. So there's a good quick list for you to eat much, much lower carb than you may have been a few weeks ago if you're just coming and trying to eat a low carbohydrate, keto, low carb, high healthy fat, or Banting diet. And I'm all for this. I think this is the way you're going to reclaim your health. This is the way you're going to lower your blood glucose. This is the way you're going to keep your insulin low. This is the way you're going to get rid of inflammation in your body and ultimately lose weight if that's your goal. Now, you may not know this, but Nisha and I, we do a live show on Facebook every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you'll go to my Facebook page and like it, and then click on the see first and send notifications, you'll get a notification when we go live, and you can join us and you can ask all your low carbohydrate questions, and we'll try our best to answer them. I have other links down below that you can check out if you'd like more information about what I do. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.